Good afternoon, I'm Luke Brown. Today on Game Breaking News, Jonathan Cooper searches for answers to life's most troubling questions. But first, headlines. Counting this past weekend, Disney's Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time has officially become the highest-grossing video game movie of all time. While at first this may sound like a triumph, let's not forget that it took the movie nearly a month to make $294 million, which just edged it past the $275 million Tomb Raider made. By comparison, it only took Avatar 2 weeks to hit $300 million, but perhaps that's a bit unfair to Prince of Persia. Then again, comparing a Jerry Bruckheimer-produced big-budget film to such luminary film classics like Mortal Kombat, Super Mario Bros., Far Cry, and Blood Rain isn't exactly the same as debating Dickens over Chaucer. I mean, the biggest star in any of those movies was Pete Sampras' wife, and the biggest movie she's done recently was Pete and Pete's Wife's Family Christmas '08. That was the year he bought her a new toaster. That's how you know you've made it, folks. Getting a toaster from Pete Sampras. It's a big deal. Speaking of video game movies, PDP has announced a line of Tron controllers to be released in conjunction with the new film and video game. The controllers are all black and feature a self-sustaining light source that will replicate the look of something straight out of the program world Tron takes place in. Best of all, the controllers look just like Olivia Wilde, who is sexy, especially in black latex and with black hair. And I would really like to hold Olivia Wilde with my hands. I'll be right back. Here's Coop.
Coop's Corner, Coop's Corner. Thanks, Luke, I guess. What do I talk about? I guess I'll talk about E3. That's cool, right? That's cool. Starting off the week, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft went head-to-head, pulling down their pants and comparing for all to see. Starting it off was Microsoft, who confused gamers by making them wear ponchos and then proceeded to reveal next to nothing anybody cares about. They started off with Kinect, the new Project Natal, which doesn't have a price yet because it's probably going to cost $150. And as we all know, nobody wants to spend $150 on a product that barely works. Next up was Nintendo. Nintendo's presser wasn't much better. It started off with gamers talking about how awesome the new Zelda was and shitting themselves to the same gameplay, story, and basic mechanics that every other Zelda game has had for the past 20 years. Oh, and it got delayed, so that's just, awesome. And then Nintendo proceeded to announce sequels to everything over and over again and gave a middle finger to every original IP ever released. And then they announced a 3D system, and they didn't give it a price or a date yet, and probably for the same reason that Kinect doesn't have one. See you in $300, everyone. Lastly was Sony, who might have had the most boring press conference of all time. They kicked things off with a bunch of nonsense about their new controller, the Move, which is about one chromosome away from being the Wiimote. Then they announced a bunch of crap nobody cares about and talked about 3D TVs like everybody had one. Oh, and then Kevin Butler walked out and said something that was kind of like, yeah, we're betraying our core audience with this new waggle stick, but go screw yourself, gamers. And, I guess that's E3 in a nutshell. Back to you, Luke. All right. Be sure to follow Game Breaking News on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, and check back for more stuff later in the week.